Hi friends, thank you for watching The Source, God's Answers to Life's Hard Questions. I've mentioned in the past that I don't like to watch TV all that much. One, it's not consistent with Torah values, and two, I find it a big waste of time. But I found myself in bed, not feeling well, and I tuned into a Netflix story. And I like the K-dramas. I mean, it's all subtitles, they're all based in South Korea. But I like it because their values are like very old-fashioned. You know, as an American film, the first episode of anything, everybody's in bed already, sleeping together. In a K-drama, it's like all the way at the end, you'll be lucky if they hold hands. And it's just really cute and very sweet and reminiscent of times when people actually had self-respect and respect for each other. All that being said, so this story was about a prince. He was the crown prince. And he got into some sort of accident where he had amnesia. And he found himself living among peasants in a small village. And he had no idea who he was. And he ends up getting married to a peasant girl. And they call him the idiot, the town idiot, because he doesn't know how to do manual labor. He was the crown prince. Nobody knew who he was, so he can't gut a fish, he can't plow or plant or do anything. He's just completely useless. Except that there's moments and certain interactions when all of a sudden the king in him asserts itself. So when people will come to him, just let's say in a little bit of a disrespectful manner or in a too familiar manner, he'll say, I'm uneasy with that. Or somebody wants him to bow down and he says, I don't feel comfortable bowing down. But he doesn't know why, because as far as he knows, he's just a peasant, a farmer. But then he gets into incidents where they want to come and kill everybody, and he gets into a battle. And all of a sudden he has this swordsmanship where he's taking everyone down. Like this village idiot all of a sudden becomes a master with the sword. And he like knocks out 20 guys like this, that, everybody's dead in 5 seconds. And where did this skill come from? It's not something that they learn, you know, in that small village, in that town. So there are certain glimpses and hints of the royalty inside of him. And why do I tell you this story? Because I find that the lesson is very applicable to Judaism and to this week's parasha. We all have royalty inside of us. Within us, we are all housing God, and we live in God, and He lives in us. The thing is that inner king, that inner queen, that inner royalty becomes so muffled by life. You know, we're taught that when a child, a fetus, is in the womb, an angel comes and he teaches him the entire Torah. And then, when the fetus is born, he's tapped on the mouth and he forgets everything he ever learned. Now, does he forget it? Not really. He just has no access to it. The information is still there. The same thing with this king who forgot who he was. He's still a king, or he was still a prince, he was still royal, but he had no access to who he was. In this week's parasha of Truma, we read about how the Jews are commanded to build a sanctuary, a tabernacle for God. And God gives us very, very detailed information on how to do that. The measurements, the materials used, gold, silver, copper, acacia wood, curtains, linen, wool. It is very, very specific for what God wants. And after all these instructions about construction, God tells Moses, let them build this sanctuary for me, and I will dwell among them. Well, you would think after you just spent a whole parasha describing how to build a tabernacle and all its accessories and vessels, that God would say, build it and I'll live in it. I will dwell in it. But no. God says, I will dwell among them. I will dwell in them. You see, God lives inside of us, but we don't access the God in us. We don't access the soul in us. How do you get access? By doing the mitzvot. How do we get rid of that amnesia of who we are? Basically by opening the Torah and doing what God tells us, then we have access to our real selves, to our real souls, and we provide a building, a sanctuary within us wherein God can dwell, where God wants to show up, where he'll be proud to show up. You see, if you would have a guest who you know is a royal guest, or the mayor of your town, or I don't know, or your boss, whoever impresses you, you would want to set up the environment perfectly so that they come in, they see that you're neat, they see that you live nicely, that you have a beautiful home, that you have nice taste, and that you look like a success story, and that they're not embarrassed to come in and you're not embarrassed to receive them. Well, the same thing goes for us. We are the sanctuary, and we have to clean up our act, clean up our spiritual homes to make God welcome, to make him want to enter our lives, to be with us, to help us. Because we are like an antenna, basically, and you can muffle your reception by doing everything wrong and going against the Torah, or you can do everything that God tells you and be a perfect receptor for God. You see, Moses, when he died, entered all of us. Moses lives in all of us. So how do we tap into the Moses? Well, God gave Moses the Torah to give to the Jewish people. Tap into your Moses, tap into your Torah, clean up your spiritual house, and let God in. And though many people say, you know, I'm a great person and I'm doing things my way and I'm doing the best that I can. Okay, would you get onto an airplane where the pilot said, I know you have all these rules about how you should fly and the checklists, but I'm going to fly the plane my way. Would you get on the plane? A brain surgeon says, I know what they taught me in medical school, but I'm going to do it my way. Would you want to go under his knife? And just a very simple, practical example. If you would send somebody an email, but you decided .com is not like cool, so I'm just going to change the .com because I don't like it with a C. Will that email ever get anywhere just because you did things your way? God's way is the only way that works. When we depart from his message, we depart from our purpose, and we clutter and mess up our spiritual homes. So, thanks to the K-drama, I really did get a very special message. Find the royalty inside of you. Make your life and your home a palace where God will want to enter, a home where Judaism is the cornerstone of everything that you do. The bread on the table should be blessed, mezuzot on the door, charity box on the counter. Don't let just Jews live in that house. Have a Jewish house and live like Jews. Shabbat Shalom.